Oh, let's get this going. Sorry. It's the rhythm of the bug fix. The bug fix. Alright. It's the rhythm of the bug fix. The bug fix. Tonight. One second. Okay, 26 seconds. I can do it. So apparently, I don't know. I'm guessing maybe people still. I don't know what audience will understand what I had to say here versus which audience will not. Oh no, I can't do comments. Oh no, this is the next. Okay, hold on a second. I just did this one. No, this one right here. This one. Okay, so for this one. Okay. Ah no! Ah! Hold on. All right. I'm gonna come over here. Hold on. I'm not doing the reacts video. I am just. I need to leave a comment here that apparently I can't leave because I'm not actually signed in that browser. So I will give myself a second here. So the comment that I want to leave about this, because somebody just posted in the channel, you know, I think the Prime is pretty much right. You need concurrency. There is no argument against that. My point, and I thought that I made this clear in the video, but you know, I ramble. And I'm also talking from a perspective that may not be familiar to everybody because I'm talking as a programmer who does Go and Node, which I tried to make that clear as well, that's, you know, the perspective I'm coming from, that Go routines do not have unique value. They did not solve, so Go routines did not solve, and okay, so Go was already becoming popular at the time, or Node was already becoming popular at the time that Go was finally announced. So at the time that Go was announced, Go routines didn't add unique value to web development because we are already in the switch over to single core systems. So to be ultra clear, concurrency is a given. Go routines don't provide any tangible are necessary. Go routines are necessary, but they don't provide any tangible value on single core systems compared to other forms of concurrency, such as in Node. So the coroutine model. Or any language with single-threaded async or coroutines. Okay, that's the comment that I'm leaving. I'm going to pin that. All right, so that's not what I'm here to do, but just because I saw that right there. There's my pin comment. To be ultra clear, concurrency is a given. Go routines are necessary, but they don't provide any tangible value on single core systems compared to other forms. And I should say advantage. They don't provide any clear advantage. Okay, let me... Oh, next that. Okay, so if you're interested in watching that video that I did last night, I'm just going to link to it real quick. Man, have you even slept since the last stream? Sleep is for the weak, dude. Sleep is for the weak. So I get frustrated with this stuff because it just makes me feel dumb. Like I can't explain anything to anybody else. Like it's all stuck in my head and I can't get it out. It's like honestly, when I'm trying to communicate an idea and I just can't, I just feel trapped. And I hate it. But because like I don't know how to be clearer. I don't know how to be clear. Like at this point, to me, this is... There's still in that video, there's still parts where I rewatched it on 2x just to kind of to see, you know, okay, did I actually make the point or did I do that thing again where I'm skipping over the thoughts in my head as I'm describing? And I did. So I never got around to the part about the 10% performance gain, because if you watch the video, you'll see it, because they claim that they get 18 or 8% performance gain from using memory arenas compared to using garbage collection where the GC runs. But that's what's expected, is to get about 8%, because the GC takes about 10% off the top. That's, you know, anyway. All right, let's go ahead and pop top, my friends. To the death of me. I've also got some burrito. Now, what we're going to be working on, is that, so originally the idea was this is just going to be pretty much Go programs, so we don't have to worry about libc. Well, I wasn't even thinking on that level when I was creating Webi. But we have this Docker issue that still is residual. So certain programs can't be installed on Alpine, and it's because the detection is wrong. And I know what the fix is. There's two forms of fix that need to be applied. One that is the long-term fix, and the other one that I'm also going to apply that's a short-term fix. The short-term fix is, if you can't find the correct build for Alpine, do it anyway. Just install the thing anyway, and it might fail. But more likely than not, it's going to succeed. And the other thing is that just like I introduced recently the OS wildcard and the architecture wildcard, so the architecture wildcard for PowerShell, the OS architecture is Windows, but the OS architecture is, the machine architecture is wildcard. So the OS is Windows. Actually, that's not... There could be PowerShell that runs on either. Actually, I think I was going to do the opposite. I think I was going to say that the OS is wildcard in those cases. OS is wildcard. and the machine is either POSIX or PowerShell or something like that. So, anyway, because it's kind of like a WASI scenario, where if you has as long as you have a POSIX shell interpreter, you can run the stuff. Or as long as you have PowerShell, you can run the stuff. Although, in that case specifically, I think I just treat PowerShell the way I treat Node. Sorry for eating, but I'm going to eat. All right, so here we go. Dang it. Turn back on the chat timers. Oh, and also I'm going to answer somebody else real quick. Concurrency just happens between processes by virtue of having a 386 or better CPU and an OS with threading. So Win 95 plus or so. So Win 3.11 emulated it with green threads. Oh, well, let's see. Win 3.1 emulated this with green threads. So there's that too. Concurrency within a process is through an event loop, thread pool, coroutines, go routines, etc. Okay, so I was just clarifying that point to somebody that had also made a comment on the video in the channel. So even Python has concurrency. Okay. Let's go solve this problem. And I need to close some things out probably, because I got too much stuff open again. All right, we can get rid of the TinyGo stuff. Oh, by the way, David, if you would give a review, if you have time, if you would give a review. Oh, it looks like you already gave a review on this one. Was that you? Yeah. Okay. If you'd also give a review on the TinyGo one, that would be appreciated. This one's ready to go, so I'll just plop that in there. Ryan is... I'm imagining he's going to do about nothing for the next 6 months. So I probably should just stop asking him. I think he's going to come back, but life stuff that he's been dealing with, he's not in the headspace. Okay. What was this over here? All right, that one I'm actually going to push aside. We'll deal with that one again later in the future. Okay, so now I got to think about this. Now, wherever I implemented the OS detection, in that same area is where I'm going to have to implement okay. Really? Was it double quotes then? Oh, whoops, sorry. Okay, so transform releases is one place we're going to need to do this. We're going to need to update it and test. So let's go fix this. And I don't, this bug, this may have existed a long time, or it may have been introduced with this change. And we need to work on that. But I don't actually even want to fix this one yet. I need to fix the sed problem first, because basically I think I'm not using I'm not using a POSIX acceptable sed expression. And that's one of those things that's hard to detect, because you're going to have a unit test for it. Or test it on a real system, because I don't think you can easily just read the spec for how regular expressions are done in POSIX and know, oh yes, this combination is invalid. Yeah, so I think he's in Where the Stages of Grief. All right, denial. I think they went through that. Anger. I think they went through that. Bargaining. I think they went through that. I think that there's... I think that there's kind of a false acceptance period. I don't want to... It's really sensitive to kind of talk about. When a person's going through grief, their experiences and their feelings are valid. But I know from my own experiences, often there's a false acceptance before the true acceptance. There's like, no, I'm okay. Like, everything's good. I'm at peace with it. I'm at peace with God. I'm at peace with my relationships. I'm at peace with it. Like, I just realized, I don't need as much as I thought I needed. Or whatever. Like, I'm at peace, and you honestly feel good, and you honestly think like, okay, no, I'm good. But really, what you're going through is depression. You've lost the sensation of the hurt, and so you feel at peace. But you're not like back to, okay, I'm living life, I'm in the groove, I'm doing the thing. You're like in an exploratory phase. You're trying to figure out, am I having a spiritual awakening? Am I, do I want to change directions? Do I want to simplify? Now I understand the meaning of things better, yada, yada. So I from my own experiences, I expect that, in some amount of time, he's going to come back full swing and we're going to be working together again and yada, yada. And if not, that's okay. I mean, we could be friends on another level, but I'm expecting that I'll eventually come back, but it's not there right now, and that's okay. Anyway, so first we need this in here, and then this is not quite right, because this one right here is, don't use musl ++ on glibc. Whoops. That's what we're trying to prevent. And then here, Handle non-glibc. That's what we're trying to do here. And then the goal here, we go in further. This is, yeah, I need to have comments on this because I don't know. Well, I guess actually, if I feel like I need comments, then it's probably best that I need to assign this to a variable. So what is this saying? And this is kind of the, it's not that it requires a muscle build, but it's, oh, this is really difficult to explain. Let me go back here. Let's go back to, let me finish out the comments first. So the goal here is reject if dependent on glibc. Fail if dependent on libc. Okay. And you can't, I mean, you can install, I think you can install libc on musl. It just, you know, it doesn't make sense. And this is incorrect. That's the bug right there. Because this is not... It's one of those things, you know. If Johnny mows the lawn, Johnny gets $5. Johnny got $5. Did he mow the lawn? You tempted to say yes. The answer is we don't know. We did not set other conditions upon which Johnny may or may not get $5. We only know if Johnny doesn't have $5, we know he didn't mow the lawn. And if Johnny mowed the lawn, we know that he gets $5. But if Johnny got $5, we don't know if he mowed the lawn. And if he didn't mow the lawn, we don't know that he didn't get $5. You know, so that's the kind of logic here. That's where this logic failed. It was seductive logic. It was if the package isn't musl, and it's not musl native, so the release, let's do this release, sorry, because it's not, that's, and this one is still probably not right, but I think we've got somewhere to go from here. So the release requires musl. That means we can't use it on systems that don't have musl. Okay, I think this wording is a little bit better. Take a look at TinyGo in a bit. Great. I was only stating I couldn't relate. Didn't mean he wouldn't recover. Just can't put myself in that light. Yeah, sure. I wasn't, that's not what I was riffing off of. I was kind of just thinking about what was in my own head. Probably didn't have much value to say out loud, actually. Okay. All right, so at least now we have better names for what it is that we're communicating about here. I also want to move, there's some things I want to move. So for example, the formats, I'd rather move. The version could actually come a lot sooner because the version is, pass fail. That version exists or it doesn't exist. So that's kind of it. That's a pass fail. OS and architecture, kind of a pass fail. LTS, I feel like LTS, well, even, I don't know, even version. There's some, I'm going to put that back. But this one, okay, this one is something that can be fixed. At runtime. Like, we can't fix, I guess this is the thing. We can't make the release different. We can't make the release change versions or change channels or change LTS or change operating systems. We can't change the operating system. We can't change the operating system's architecture unless it's an M1 or Windows ARM. So there we can, and we do handle that at another layer. I think this kind of needs to be split into OS, version, and release, or rather package, because we can install XZ or gzip or zip. Those are things that we can fix on the client side. Anyway, that's not the point of what we're doing here today. So let me get back to the point of what we're doing here today. Fail if dependent on libc. This is where the bug is. This is not good logic. So we have all of these. And I would have to somehow go through and figure out, which is which and what is what. I think the solution for right now is when we transform the release. Actually, I think this would be a normalize. So oops. So we've got this thing here. Oh, this also needed the dev fix. I'm going to put Oh, I didn't put that in there yet because... I was afraid that something else could match this. Let's see. Could something else actually match this? And now I actually want this alphabetized because reasons. Okay. Alpha, beta, dev, developer, preview, prev, preview. Okay, so I'm going to mark that. That was another one that's still marked as a quasi bug. Yeah, that should be fine. Because I don't think that we have anything that's going to match incorrectly. So that's not what I was here to do, but I'm going to go ahead and put that one in there. It's kind of an improvement. Or I actually might consider that one a refact. No. Detect dev and developer as betas. Well, okay. Whoops. All right, so I just wanted to get that out of the way. Yeah, I think that's strict enough. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, so then we got to get to this libc problem. And I think libc is the right term. So by default, we target go, zig, etc. Most of the programs or scripts do not rely on any type of libc. If the release is musl native, then it's musl. All right, so we're taking this from hacky-do to solution. Oh, this looks like that belonged up there. Okay, what did I do? What did I break? Yeah, we should probably break this down. I'll do a refactor commit after. Okay, something is off here. I think I've got one too many. There we go. Okay. Okay, so the release requires musl. This is a little confusing. I kind of want to just get rid of that. I think I want to try it without getting rid of it first, just so I can kind of see. But we're going to need to get rid of this. All right, so yeah, this is complexity is too high. We could call this assign libc rather than detect libc. Although I like detect better. Okay. Oh, bother. Okay, so there might be a little bit of work to be done ahead of this. This is one of the reasons I've learned to never do this style of export. So so the purpose of this, so that I don't have to go through some hoops, we're gonna just keep with the status quo on this one. All right. I'll refactor this in the next commit because it's time. This is it's getting too unwieldy. I've had to increase the max complexity too many times. It's not good. Okay, so and this is one where early returns would benefit us too. We actually don't need these hyphens there. Or the dots. Because blah.a.blah.test oh, whoops. So that works. So we can do like this, but what we can't do is this, because that is what requires having the underscore. See? Oh, whoops. That doesn't match in the way that I expect. Oh no, it still... Okay, because B is not included in the match group, whereas underscore is included in the match group. Good to know. But anyway, we can simplify that. That's a lot easier to read. That's less scary. So that's better, and it accomplishes the same as we just proved. And then this, we could have G and U, or G libc or libc. I just want to put G and U here. Then we have another one. So now this creates something interesting for us because GNU on Windows does not require MSVC to be installed, but MSVC on Windows does require that to be installed. And then we have MinGW and then Sigwin. We will probably never support these. Ugh. Okay. So architecture. Again, we're going for readability over code cycles here. Blocks are nested too deeply. Okay. Yeah, we're... Max depth. It's too much. All right, so I'm gonna place this in here. Nasty. Oh, and thank goodness I noticed this. I'm gonna help myself out here. Just to prevent myself from making mistakes. Extra blocks to prevent copy pasta errors. Huh? Exactly. Okay. I don't think presently. What I need to do is write a little program that will compile a list of all releases across all of Webi. And then be able to look at downloads and names as, you know, just a list of thousands of things. Okay, I'm just going to make issues for that. I'm going to put it in my issue tracker here. I'm gonna get some of these done sooner rather than later. What did I just say? What did I literally just say 30 seconds ago I was going to do? Lack of sleep is catching up with me. Okay. So I'm going to turn this into an issue. There we go. Now let's go see where we're using... Oops. This is kind of for documentation only. Hate the word nuanced. I hate the word nuanced. I hate it. People mostly use that word for evil. And it might be fair just to call GNU libc. I mean I could but I could change that later too. Musl MSVC static glibc. Sigewin, I don't think counts as a libc because I think that operates. Sigewin and WSL, I think WSL1, I think are the same. they provide a layer on top of Windows that provides a way for syscalls to happen in compatible fashion. WSL2 simply runs emulation. It's interesting that they went with WSL1 first. It's kind of a more difficult approach and kind of a more long-term approach. It would bring Windows, because Windows would have to implement those capabilities, and if Windows had to implement those capabilities, they might as well just collapse it into the Windows kernel. Okay. All right, now let's look for, where do we have underscore musl? Okay, so I'm pretty sure this one we could tag as MSVC. I'd like to look at what the downloads look like for this one. Let's go ahead and take a look at Atomic Parsley releases. All right, is this still not done? What is going on? Okay. Let's take a look at these here. Alpine. I don't require... Let me go check and see what it says in there. Let's see what we learn here. Okay. Yeah. So it looks like, oh, that's all it's needed for SHA-1? Okay, so this was fairly recent. Okay. It'd be nice. There might be a way to auto-detect this or something, but... Okay. And then we don't have that problem in macOS, it seems like. Hallelujah. We also don't have, 32 megabyte builds of macOS. Well, maybe we do. There might be a Darwin out there like that. I really would like to refine this. For the future. Because this could change and then it could break, and I don't want to be too specific if I can avoid it. We already did the node release, right? Oh, whoops. This should not be the way. Dodged the bullet on that one. I don't think we have MSVC builds of Node. We do have true muscle builds. Think about this. I think I'm just going to call it libc instead of calling it GNU. Oops. Because I think that it's fair to say that Mac... Let's see. If we're going to label it as... Well... Okay, hold on. Okay, so this definitely requires libc. If we're looking at Linux. On Windows, it's static. On Linux, on Mac, it uses the Mac version of libc. On Linux, it uses GNU. Or musl. Okay, I'm a little confused what I'm doing here. There we go. Okay, like that. Whoa! It's never as simple as it seems. Never, ever, ever, ever. Yeah, that's a need for an early return in a function right there. Okay, what, oh, I missed the XKCD reference. Sorry, hold on. I'm backing the truck up so we can get there. Oh, are you compiling right now? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Oh, carry on. Yeah, I think they referenced this in one of the early Go talks. Because this was part of the thing for Go, was that, C code takes all day to build. Bro, nowadays we do not need this. We do not need what? This? Bro, do you know Python? Bro. Oh my goodness. Bro, do you know how to install Python? Huh? Actually, I'm pretty sure in Windows, if you just type Python in the Windows terminal, I'm not sure about command.exe, but if you just type Python in the Windows terminal, I think it will install Python 3. Or, pop up with a box and ask you. Kind of like how if you type Git on Mac, it pops up with a box and says, hey, looks like you wanted to do some development. You want to install them tools? So, yeah. But, in all seriousness, you can get Python from Webi. So this is this is a conflict-free Python. So when you hear about people's troubles installing Python, one of the issues is that there's a difference between you as a developer, you want certain features from Python that are different from what your operating system provides. And a lot of people don't realize that you're not supposed to use the version of Python that's packaged with your operating system for development. Because the reason Python is installed on your operating system is not so that you can get to developing quicker. The reason it's installed on your operating system is because there are system libraries that depend on that version of Python. So you go mucking around with different ways of installing Python, then all of a sudden your system breaks, you have to reinstall Windows or reinstall Mac or reinstall Linux, whatever. This right here will do pyenv without sudo. So it will not affect system paths. And if anything goes wrong, you know exactly what to delete. There's just one file to delete. So this, you can use this to install, there's Python. You can directly install either Python 2 or you can install Python 3, which I think is just, that's just alias of Python. And you can switch between versions. You can check out the pyenv cheat sheet. So if you really do want Python, although remember, Python is a wonderful and beautiful language to learn. It is a great language to learn. Please, for the love of all that is holy, do not actually write applications in Python and ship them. Python is an absolutely terrible language to deploy applications in. And this is because it is so old. It dates back to the C era. It's kind of trying to be a simpler C in a way. It doesn't have multi-threading support. It doesn't, you can't do multiple CPUs. You can't share memory. It's surprising to me. Python has got to be the most expensive way that you could ever imagine doing any of these machine learning or AI things. It's crazy that Python has had a resurgence in exactly the field that it is the least well suited for. Like if we're going to read off the list of languages that you should be using for things that are intensively memory intensive and benefit from being spread across multiple CPU cores, Python isn't on the list. Python doesn't make the cut because Python lacks the ability to do these things effectively. It is so expensive to run Python for that type of stuff. But, what do you do? My whole life is alive. I can't write programs in Python. What can I do? Well, I mean, if you're getting paid to do it, you just do it anyway. I'm just saying that from a cost-benefit perspective, Python makes no sense. It is a language to learn. It is not a language to deploy. Because it just doesn't have the features, and it can't. because Python is geared towards simplicity. It's geared towards learning logic. So, you try to write a web server in Python, you have to have a different instance of Python for every single request. So it's incredibly expensive. That's the only word for it. It's just expensive. It cannot use system resources well. If you have a 4 gigabyte data file that you need to process, you're going to need to have 12 gigs of RAM, because it has to read in the file, it has to have a working copy of the file, and then it has to have like a second copy of the working copy of the file, because it's like, yeah. Now you can kind of get around this if you're deploying an environment that has swap space. You can turn on swap space, because what actually happens is it's only working on a few hundred megabytes of that data at a time. It's typically reading it serially. So you don't. So from that perspective, you don't actually need that. But most cloud environments don't let you have swap space, or maybe I shouldn't say most, but they're not configured with swap space on by default. They don't want you to use swap space in the general case, and or they just straight up don't allow swap space. It is actually disabled. It is not possible to have swap space, and there's good reasons for that, because you could end up just doing SSD thrashing and then ruin the SSDs. But in the case of the processing large data files, it's just the inadequacies of Python that make it seem like it needs 12 gigs of RAM to process 4 gigs of data. In actuality, it only needs a couple hundred megabytes, depending on the processing. Well, you can read in chunks, yes, but the way the Python libraries work, because the Python data processing stuff that's kind of made its resurgence, it's not written in Python. That just wouldn't work at all. It's written in C. And so, in effect, the way that these libraries like the SciPy and the Pandas and stuff work, you end up having to have multiple copies of the data because of the way that it operates on them. So it has to appear to them to be all in memory. They're not well optimized. So, yeah. But, if you're getting paid to write Python, then write Python. But unless you're doing something where the cost of running Python is worth it, and there are some cases in which it is, right? Like, it's easier to pay a couple $1,000s a month for your cloud bill than it is to pay $15,000 a month for a Rust developer or an R developer, or somebody who's top tier senior data scientist that also is a top tier system level programmer, or a software engineer. So this is the on startups, it's like, because it's cheaper to pay the cloud costs than it is to pay the initial personnel costs. But then as you start to scale out and get customers, then your cloud bill's like hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's and this is related to swap space, so I'll bring this up. So let's see, Utah Node.js, what was it? Plaid. Scaling Node.js at Plaid. So in this one, I'll give you the link to it. Plaid, you know about Plaid. They saved something like $250,000 a month by turning on swap. But in the beginning, having developers that know what swap is and how to use it effectively and when to use it, those are, it shouldn't have to be this way, but the way that the boot camps are structured, they just skip all the fundamental knowledge. They just skip all the stuff that you'd learn in the first week of a basic computer, Linux class, right? They just skip over the whole thing. And so they just teach you from the text editor basically just the text editor. They don't cover the deployment. They don't cover the Linux. They don't cover the command line. It's just like you're going to react. Boom. That's it. Right. And so from that perspective, the cost of someone who knows the basics, like the stuff you learn, week 1 or 2 of a Linux class, is actually pretty high. So in the beginning, it's like, yeah, we'll pay a couple $1,000s a month for our cloud hosting. And then as they scale, it turns into $250,000 a month. And it's like, all you had to do was click the button. Well, type the save money command. And I actually have that on Webi too. So, because this is, so swap. So here's VPS add swap, and it's got the tutorial and the cheat sheet as well, right? So there you go. So save yourself some money. Okay. A good replacement would not be Go. Go is kind of what you end up having to use when you use Python, because what you end up doing is writing a service that orchestrates the data and the routing between the Python instances. So, for example, Kubernetes is written in Go. But Go in of itself is not a good language for that. Rust is a good language. R is a good language. I imagine that in the future, Zig will have good tie-ins. So you want something that can still use the same basic C library stuff as what the Python things are using. So Rust is probably the best one for machine learning and data processing and stuff like that. But in general, if you're just talking about programming, so I went down this thing about like specifically the thing that Python is worst for. The thing that Python is worst for is what Rust is best for. But in the general case of what Python is mediocre at, Go. Like system scripts, Go. Web services, Go. And then Go would just be better than, say, Node, for example, even though the performance characteristics are similar, because Node, you have to drink poison Kool-Aid in order to, get in the club. All right, Dapper King, I just did an audit for my company, saving them $100,000 a month. High five, buddy. Way to go. Be the Dapper King. Go doesn't exec C code. Okay, so there's Go and there's CGo. Go is compiled by the Go compiler, and it is Go code. And there's not libc. CGo are C programs that get transpiled Go code. So a Go program is a Go program. It runs the Go runtime. It does not call out to C. CGo is a C program that runs Go that has been, I guess, LLVM compiled. So the Go uses the self-hosted compiler. CGo uses LLVM. I believe that it uses LLVM. I could be mistaken about that, but I think I'm not very clear on the specifics of LLVM, but I think that's how that works. I'm pretty sure that, whoops, no, oh no, don't do it, crap, I accidentally hit a button that was going to kill the page there. I will have to take a look at Python. My understanding is that Python is just Python. Python is, yeah, okay. C extensions for, so yes, this is, they're just rebranding. Okay, I'm going to use a really bad terminology here, so forgive me. Okay, this is going to be really bad, but let me see if I can think of a better example. Hey, Tehran, welcome. Let me think of a better example before I say this one, because I really don't want to use that one. Okay, all right, here's a good one. Before we came up with the term single page application, websites were just called websites, but then we had to come up with the term multi-page application, right? So first we came up with the term SPA, and then we went backwards and came up with the term MPA. But MPA was just the normal thing. Python is just the normal thing, as far as I'm aware. Or, oh, no, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, it looks like I'm wrong. Because Python is written in C. Python is a language. You can implement the language in a variety of ways. So Python is implemented in C. Python is implemented in Java. IronPython is implemented in C#. So Python is one of the few success stories of a language having multiple implementations. And so for the longest time, I thought people actually just referred to it as, or maybe it's not Python, maybe it's CPython. Maybe CPython, they backwards renamed Python to CPython when things like IronPython and Jython and what was don't they have like a Ruby Python or something too? I mean, there's so many implementations of Python. It is a huge success story in that regard of being a language specification that can be implemented in lots of different applications. I saw your stream and that you were very great at programming. Why, thank you for stroking my ego. So I was wondering if you're planning to start a course for absolute beginners because I want to learn. I have wanted to do that. The problem is I right now have not developed really good teaching skills. I would like to develop those skills, but I don't presently have them, and I get stuck in analysis paralysis. So B for Beyond Code here, and I got the. So I was doing the thing where it's easier to get the T-shirts than it is to actually create the course. But I was working on a course, and actually that is part of what Webi is all about. Webi is about making it easier for developers to get the tools they need quickly, regardless of whether they have Windows, Mac, or Linux. It's to get that out of the way and guarantee that it's just going to work. However, the developing the course material for me is more difficult than writing code and systems and whatnot. So, will I get there one day? I hope so. But today is not that day. All right, now what was the thing that I was just now working on? We had that. Okay. I wonder about CMake too. Let's take a look at CMake. Do you have anything about musl? Because I wonder if this one is static or not. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and whip this. Okay, and then okay, I'm going to have to get rid of that again. Mega Man Nostalgia. Yeah, so we should... Oh! Do we have the thing right here? Okay, yeah, we do. Good. All right. Yeah, it's the orchestral playlist. And I'm so ticked off because there's some company that keeps on making false copyright claims on my channel. Not copyright strikes, just revenue share claims. It's so messed up because literally what I have to do, these guys, they wear you down, right? Because unless you have an assistant that is, unless you're a big channel and you're making lots of money and you have someone to go in and put your license in every single time, it's like, whatever, screw it. I don't care about the few pennies. But because they do it across hundreds of thousands of channels, they just make fake copyright claims across hundreds of thousands of channels. And the YouTube default is, well, if you're the creator, you're obviously in the wrong. So people just make junk copyright claims against you, and then they just take your revenue. And for you, it's like, okay, well, for me, it's a few pennies. But for them, over hundreds of thousands of videos, millions of videos that they're making the fake claims on, most people, you just get worn down. You don't care anymore. But OC Remix has a license for the music, right? Content policy right here. So as per the submission of OC Remix, I have the copyright to this. And the thing is, or I have the license to use the copyright. But the thing is, they're such bogus claims. If you actually go look at what song it's tagged as, it's the most ridiculous stuff. It's not like they're even tagging and saying we own this song. They're saying, oh, we own like these 3 chords or something. There was one that was an album. So the label owned an album in which a drunk guy was singing in Portuguese while the Super Smash Bros. Soundtrack was playing in the background. And they said they don't own the Super Smash Bros. Soundtrack. I was not playing drunken Portuguese, but they made a copyright claim on the video. And it's like, they win. I don't have the moral fortitude to fight it. They win. They get my pennies. They make, however many hundreds or thousands of dollars that they make in aggregate across the millions of videos that they do this to. It's pathetic. Ugh. But I mean, again, you could make the argument. You could say, well, it doesn't do you any good. Like 13 cents doesn't do you any good. But if we copyright claim millions of videos, those 13 cents turns into tens of thousands of dollars. So it's worth it for us to do. So you're at no tangible loss and we're at a tangible gain. It's just it's the middle fingerness of it all. Okay. The more I learn, the more I realize that I should go learn and use C and C++. No, don't do it, please. You will never be smart enough to use C and C++. Because the people who are smart enough to use C and C++ at a basic level refuse to touch it because they know that that is a great evil and that they don't want people to get viruses and for programs to crash. Okay, so let me take that back. You should learn C and C++ so you are convinced to never use them. And that you are convinced to fight against any C or C++ code making it into a production system. That is why you should learn C and C++ code. But you should not use them. That is just, that to me is morally apprehensible. It is morally bankrupt to intentionally use C and C++ because you are just contributing to... People don't deserve to have their computer crash. People don't deserve to get viruses, right? Systems don't deserve to get people who own the systems don't deserve to have their systems broken into. It is morally irresponsible to use C and C++. It is like you are a bad person if you do that. Right? I mean, like yes, there's caveats to that. There's nuance to that. Whatever. Ugh, again, the filthy word nuance. But in general, it is a morally bankrupt thing to do. It is to inflate someone's own ego to make them feel as though they are God among men and capable of wielding dangerous power. You know? It's like, yeah, there are safe alternatives that meet the criteria, whether it's performance, whether it's memory usage, whether it's, you know, whatever it is that you're looking for, there's something that meets the criteria that's actually safe. And, and on average, if you write in C, you're going to do it wrong. At the beginner level, right? So let's say that you didn't create any security vulnerabilities. Your program would just be slow, right? Because you wouldn't understand how to use buffers properly. You wouldn't know when to use syscalls and when to avoid them, you know. And so if you were to write a program in Go, a Go program is going to be fast because all of the buffering and the syscall, all that stuff is being done by default. So yes, is it powerful to know those things? Yes, it's powerful to know those things. But for heaven's sake, please do not use them. It is morally irresponsible. And again, like, you know, can I call somebody in the chat a bad person because they don't know how to use C? Yes, I can. But I don't want to. I don't know. It's just. The world is so complicated, and there's so many bad things in it. We don't need to bring the evil upon ourselves intentionally. You know, let the terrible things that we have to deal with befall us, but let us not bring them upon ourselves wittingly. So that's my rant on that. So go learn C and C++ if you must, but please don't use them. And in fact, I mean, I think it's good to some. Like, I learned C, and it benefited me to learn it. I don't use it. I have too much love for the people around me, you know, to do that. I'm not criminal. Okay, so where did my... But again, you know, just kind of like those people who are stealing all the songs so they make their money. You know, if you got to use it to make your money, that's how you got to make your living. You gotta make it. So I apologize if I came on a little too strong there. I don't hate you as a person. Just please think of the children. That's all I'm asking. Just think of the children. Okay. Time to write a tool for that. And then everyone will do it and YouTube has to fix it. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Screw all them embedded devs. No! Embedded devs have so many good options. Why would you use C? Although, I will say this. Other than the fact that embedded devs would kill people, because embedded devices are often in critical systems that need to work, like power plants, hospitals, airplanes, you know. So other than murdering people, you know, yeah, if you're gonna throw some C on, you know, think of it like art, right? You know, art, we don't worry about art killing people. We don't put art in place of stop signs. If there needs to be a stop sign at an intersection, we don't put a piece of artwork there. We put a stop sign, right? So, you know, if you want to goof off with an embedded system that, you know, blinks some lights and, you know, waters your grass, by all means, your art project is art. You can do bad things on purpose. You know, people make art out of soda cans and plastic bottles, right? It's art. But, you know, yeah, I'd rather you not kill people. And this is a bad example. Okay, it's a bad example because it could have happened in many other ways. And I think that it actually was more of a logic bug than a memory bug. But, and this has only happened, what, like twice? But there was that airplane that crashed because of the bad firmware. Because it couldn't tilt up, and then the autopilot screwed up, and whatever. And it happened to a couple of people. They were able to recover from it, and then it crashed, and it got recalled. They had to redo the software on it. But, yeah, like... And then there was the whole snafu with the space station. Now, granted, that was back in the 60s, 70s. Not space station, the moon. That was a couple of the Apollo missions. But then, granted, back then they didn't have any better tools, so they had to use what they had. New projects don't use C, but I spend a lot of my time in existing projects. Yes, okay, and for that, like, you get a pass, right? What's your preferred native language right now? Well, so Zig is what I'm learning. I have not had one because Rust is going in the wrong direction. Rust is going towards the complexity of C++ at an alarming rate. When they added operator overloading, that was when I said I'm done. That was when I went from, I'm interested in it, I think that it's a good idea, I think it's solving good problems, to the hubris has taken over and they are not focused on the we need to be making people's lives better, not stroking our egos. And at the point that you add operator overloading, you've crossed over from, okay, we need to make a safe language to improve people's lives so that their computers don't crash, so that their planes don't crash, so that their facilities aren't hacked into, to, oh, doesn't that feel nice? Oh, do more of that. That's where I was like, okay, no, thank you. So Zig is what I'm looking at for the future, because Zig is focused on complexity, minimizing complexity, and although it does not have a perfect guarantee of memory safety, they do have a safe release build. They have a general purpose allocator that can help you to track problems. So Zig is focused on giving the developer the tools that they need to write safe programs, but giving the option that when your production binary goes out, that it doesn't need to include all of that. So this, I feel like, is a pretty good middle ground. If you had a production system, if you were deploying into a hospital, you would use the general purpose allocator and release safe. Okay, if you're deploying into a game engine and you've tested it at 30 frames per second and you're not getting crashes, and you want to test it at 120 frames per second or whatever, then yes, release fast, and you don't use the general purpose allocator, use a special purpose allocator with special memory areas, whatever. So yeah, I think that Zig is providing the tools to do the right thing, and I hope that that works out. But yeah, I guess the other thing is, you can't blame people for making bad choices when they only have bad options. So if I can't strongly recommend something else, I can at least strongly recommend Rust in terms of, although it's going in the wrong direction in terms of solving the problems that people have with memory safety and crashes and intrusions. Rust solves that problem, so it is a responsible choice, even if they're going in the wrong direction in terms of complexity. Yeah, and you can get Zig. So I haven't added ZLS yet, but Zig is available right here. So if you want to try Zig right now, you can try Zig right now. I believe there's a Hello World. Is the Hello World in here? Oh, okay. Oh, and some of this stuff is simpler now. So a lot of what I had for Zig was for cross-compiling, because at first that's where I saw its greatest advantage, but now I see that it has more advantages than that. And Zig, Go is something you can learn in a weekend. Zig is something you can learn in a week. If you're familiar with systems programming already, you could learn it in a weekend. Well, okay, if you're familiar with systems programming and a little bit of higher level programming, you could learn it in a weekend. I am not so familiar with the systems level programming. I have I did what was required in school to use C and C++, and I deserve better for myself. Okay, so we have an issue where we need to fix BusyBox sed. That's what I want to work on for the next 20 minutes. Then I may have to go. There was something what was one of the ones I was just looking at? Oh, CMake. Okay, let's do this. Let's do CMake. And I believe that what we're going to get is, right, bad regex. So this is the thing that I want to fix right now. I'm not sure where that bad regex is coming from, but it's coming probably from somewhere in here. Oh, it looks like it's that one right there. I'm gonna put Code Llama over here. By the way, if you want Code Llama, you can get Ollama. You can get it with the, Ollama has the command line interface, but there's the instructions here also to get the chat style interface, so you can get your Chat Llama. Just like ChatGPT, and then you can install the different models. So you can get Code Up or Code Llama. So Ollama is the power of ChatGPT on your local system. So you pick the model. Mistral is the general purpose model. It's kind of similar to GPT-3 and its general performance. But then you can get models that are tuned for specific things. So basically, the model name of OpenAI has 4 main models. They have GPT-3, GPT 3.5, GPT 3.5 Turbo, and GPT-4. That's what they call their models. They're not actually version numbers. They're different ways of training the model. So they're trying different things, and GPT-4 is not better across the board. I think it's better at the human language, it's better at fooling people, but from what I've heard, it actually gives worse answers. The content is worse, the presentation is better. And then with things like Code Llama and SQL Coder and these various models that you can get for Ollama, which it seems like a terrible name, because they're going off of LLM. So large language model is the generic term. So they're doing a play off of LLM. I think it's a bad branding choice because it's such high value. This is not a nerdy thing. This is something that anybody can start taking advantage of. But anyway, So check that out if you haven't. I think that I'm hoping that the future will bring us things that are more accurate than ChatGPT, and things that we can run locally, because ChatGPT, I think it's going to fail economically. I think that it costs too much money to just spit out random nonsense when you can get slightly better random nonsense from a better tuned model at a cost that is so small that it's hardly measurable. So that, I mean, whenever you have a 10x cost improvement, typically it wins out. And that's what we're seeing with Olama and Mistral and Code Llama and some of those. So, okay. So it looks like, from what I just saw, I need to kind of straddle these a little bit. Let me pull this one back a little bit more so I can switch between them more easily. There we go. Okay. So, bad regex, repetition. I'm going to just search this. And actually, let's see. I doubt Code Llama will... we'll see. So this one's actually Code Up. It's a tuned version of Code Llama. And it takes a while. Every time I haven't used it for a few hours, it takes a while because it's loading stuff into RAM, because, you know, Python. Okay. Let's see. Explain this error message to me and give me a possible solution. Okay, so this it's going super generic on me. How could I change the regex, the sed regex blimp to not get this error? This might be too specific. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. It also doesn't understand because most of the examples are with a forward slash. But here, okay, so let me try this. Let me use a forward slash instead, because that's what it's familiar with. It doesn't have enough context to know that you can switch out the replacement character. Okay, now it's just going off of what I gave it. Okay, so let's close that out, start a new session. And then with the new session... Okay, non-capturing group. This might be a little more useful. Yeah, I think it's hallucinating. Well, semi-hallucinating. All right. I'm just going to try editing this. I think what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to remove everything after the question mark. And I think what it doesn't like is it might be that I don't need to escape the question mark because it's the first character. But I think I had the opposite problem before, so let's give this a try. Okay, let's do it this way. All right, so that fixes it here. Now let's do apk add sed so that it has GNU sed rather than busybox sed. And let's run it again. Okay, so it looks like there was an error in my syntax. This stuff bugs me sometimes. All right, let's see where this is at. Double check at. So double check at. That is what was correct or incorrect. Okay. So let's see that it still works on... I want to find something that's not available for Mac, something that's Windows only. Let's try sudo. No, that's not it. Do I have anything that is Windows or Linux only that is not available on Mac that is an installer? Maybe Git? That says Git already installed, of course. Can I trick it? Let me look at anything that I might be able to trick it with. Okay, is there anything... Most all these things I have on the homepage are going to be things that are going to be supported. Maybe I can just fake it out real quick to not have any Mac releases. Okay. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Forgive me while I pick my nose here. That one I believe would work. Okay, let me check back over here. So now that we've got the real version of sed installed, let's add this error back. And let's see if it behaves the right way. Does it do the right thing? Okay, this is still doing the right thing. So let me double check on that. Okay, it is still stripping the characters either way. Let's try that again. Okay. And then... let me try this. Let me do curl. But I just need to make something not match. So I'm going to do formats as BOGO. Okay. So it looks like it's still working on Mac. It's Still working on normal Linux. All right, just double check over here. It still works here. And then we're going to do delete sed. So now we have busybox sed. Okay, so that's where it has a problem, because I actually... Oh, whoops. No, this was wrong. Sorry, I wasn't doing the updated one. So I need to go rerun this everywhere. Okay, so busybox sed is happy. Regular sed is happy. So let's go back to busybox sed. Max sed is happy. And then Linux sed is happy. Okay, so this right here, bug fix, good bug fix. Okay, I'm going to ask my Code Llama a question here. All right, RS, thanks. Oh, by the way, we should, let's do a little... There we go. Celebration. Are there open source LLMs? Yeah, that's what Ollama is. That's what Ollama is. Ollama has models that are... Well, open source is a strong word. They call them open source. I don't know if they're actually open source, because what they're giving you are the binary files. They're giving you the models that have already been compiled. They're not giving you the source data set. So in order for a model to be open source, you would have to provide the source data set, which would probably violate a bunch of copyright laws, because models operate in a legally gray area, or what seems to me to be a legally gray area. It might be a very legally black and white area, but the model just builds statistical information off of what it copies. So you don't actually have reversible original copies of the data. You essentially have something kind of like hashes, where all of the different tokens are linked back and forth to one another in a statistically relevant way. So once you've trained the model, you do not have the source of the model, but you have something that you can continue to train further. So in that way, models are quasi open source. But I don't think that many models could be fully open source, because they're getting access to copyrighted data sets, where the copying process doesn't get them in trouble because they're doing it in a way that no one ever finds out about it. It's like if you photocopy a book at home in your house, have you broken the law? Well, kind of, because you copied the book, right? But if you never distribute it to anyone, you just keep the copy for yourself, and then if you take that copy and you shred it up and color code 10% of the pieces and then make a mosaic out of it, have you broken copyright law? Because that's essentially what you got with the model, is you have the mosaic. So the data is there, but not in any, you've rearranged all the words because you've cut out the tokens, and then you've rearranged them in a statistically significant way and, multi-dimensions that we couldn't represent in the way that we think about things. So, but yeah, Ollama is the way to start doing that. Wouldn't hallucination require consensus? Hallucination is just the technical term for when a model starts making connections, well, when it makes connections that are not part of the data set in question. Oh, sorry, you didn't say consensus, you said consciousness. Ba-da-bam. All right. Are you running Ollama locally? Yes. Yes, I am. So I'm running Ollama I mean, literally, this is all you have to do to run Ollama. Webi, Ollama. Oh, there's a new version. So, okay, now I have the new, oh, wait a minute. Is this the new? Yeah, this is the new version. Okay. So then, let me get out of here. Okay, so what you would need to do is, it would normally say in the notes right at the bottom, it would say, okay, now source this path or close and reopen your terminal. But I already have it in the path. So now I'm going to run again, Ollama serve, and then I'm going to do Ollama run, and you give it the model name. And there we go. And I do have the web UI, but I don't have it set up right now. So yeah. I kind of feel like this should actually be BusyBox. What? Okay. Oh. Whoops. All right, so David, if you would give this one a look. It's that. I'm going to throw this at you. The mosaic makes that fair use, I believe. Yes. But it's kind of in a weird area for me because it has the information and it's able to spit it back. I mean, it's kind of like if you read a book, you could quote facts from the book, and that's not even fair use. It's original content, but you're using a machine. It's like, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Because what you could do is you could take something that's of high value. So my wife and I have talked about this, and I believe that there are companies that are doing this right now. You can take of something that's of high value and difficult to acquire, such as the Internal Revenue Code. You could train a model on it, and then you could release the model and charge people for it. So you're buying something, you're paying for access to something, you're copying the entirety of the content that you're getting access to, and then you're presenting it in a statistical soup. So if somebody were to ask the model a question from the IRC, they would, because it's trained on a general language model of how to understand questions like Mistral, plus the IRC, and you can have it say, okay, You used the general language model essentially to interpret the question, but you must respond from the information in the fine-tuned data. So you can kind of do a thing to make it not hallucinate. And I might be explaining this wrong, and it may not actually work quite this way, because I know you can do that with small data sets, but like as in what fits in the window size. I don't know if you can do that with something that's that far embedded into the model. But as things progress, you'll be able to do something like that, I'm sure. I'm not sure, but it seems like it will happen. I would think there's a way for it. But anyway, so then you could ask it what tax codes talk about this topic, and then it would have highly statistically relevant information to tell you, okay, it's these sections. What will happen in this circumstance? Well, these are the conditions. What conditions need to be met for this to be true? And it could find that. And so you'd be taking something that is proprietary to someone, remixing it in a form that they could make revenue off of themselves, but probably wouldn't, because they're probably not sophisticated enough to do so, or the people who are sophisticated enough don't have the power to do so. And then selling the content in a form that's easier to consume. So for example, let's take Stack Overflow, right? Stack Overflow is the source of the information. But when you use GPT, it is better at selecting the statistically likely answer than Stack Overflow is itself. So then it's almost a cannibalistic market, because GPT relies on Stack Overflow for accurate data. But if GPT kills Stack Overflow by stealing the data in a sense to remix it, but then how would we hash that out legally? It just seems impossible. I don't know. So there's something strange there. And then same thing with the GPL code. GPT is trained on GPL code, so it will spit out segments of GPL code, which is probably fine, as long as they're not too unique. So, yeah. Anyway, I've got too many things open. Let me try to figure out where we're at here. So I did try this on all the environments already, right? Oh wait, did I? Let me go make sure I've... Where did I put the rest of those curls? We've got too many things open again. Alright, so let me grab this curl. That one's done. Alright, let me get out of there. Let me try on other Linux. Okay, I did it on the other Linux, so let me get out of there. And then I didn't actually do it on the Mac. So do it on the Mac. Okay, so BSD, GNU, and BusyBox SED are all doing the same thing. That makes me think that we've achieved POSIX compliance. It is SED. SED is part of POSIX, yes. Okay. Okay, so just working through things one at a time here. Yeah, I know the commit wasn't signed. I will fix that, but that's not something that you have to worry too much about. Is it -S? Yeah, I can't sign from that system. I can push from that system, but it has a deploy key. Deploy keys aren't allowed to sign, which makes sense. So there, now it's signed. Yeah. Okay, so let's get that in. Mainline. Hey, buddy. All right. We're going to do this one as well. Hey, buddy. All right, well, I should probably go. I've got the bugs fixed. There's other stuff I might do tonight. Hey, buddy, I'm going to come out, okay? Just give me a minute. All right, that's still running its process. All right, and then this one. Okay, let me go test this one real quick. This should fix our problem. I need to test it a little bit more. Yeah, I do wish... The testing of this is difficult because it requires a container. And it requires multiple operating systems to test effectively, to know that there is only integration testing here. I don't know that we could get this to unit testing. I don't know if that's a rational possible thing to do. Oh, whoops, hold on. Let me do this. Okay. And so then I'm going to switch main. I'm going to get fetch. And get switch, fix libc, get pull. All right, good. And if I do push, it should do nothing. Everything's update. Great. That's what I expected. Okay, so now let me go into over here. Let's see. Let's do one that could easily break. Let's do node. Node has different musl logic. Okay, so let's entirely get rid of node. Bad idea. We're going to do it. Local op node. Just get rid of the whole thing. All of it. Gone. Boom. Boom. All caches, all node stuff gone. Okay. And I could even get rid of it from Ian Beeman. Okay. So we're completely out of node. Now we're going to do... I'm going to make sure that I do this way. Oh, wait. No. We are going to... Next, right? Yeah, next. Okay. No. Just want to make sure that we're using that new version of Webi. Oh, and I should have done a... point update on that probably. No, it's in the template, so it doesn't need that. All right. Anyway. Okay, so that worked. So node didn't break. That's good. Let's try something else that shouldn't. Well, let's try something else that shouldn't break. JQ shouldn't break. All right. Let's again. We could get rid of all JQ. And okay, cool. So that didn't break. All right, so then let's try this on our Alpine now. Let me bring this up. All right, so JQ should work again. So we still have something going wrong here. I think it's still returning error. I should probably put those options underneath. Oh, you know what? We need to restart Webi because that was a fundamental change. Let's try this again. Don't like that. Node will work. All right, let's try Pathman. That should work. Okay. So something is fundamentally wrong here. And I have to figure that out. So didn't fix it after all that work, unfortunately. Gonna have to dig a little deeper on that one. Okay. Feel like this might... I'm going to put a time limit on this. We're going to cap this to 15 minutes or so. OS Arch. We also need to add libc in here. No, that's good. Okay, so Webi OS, Webi Arch, Webi libc, Webi releases. Okay. It's probably... I have to test this on Windows too. Oh, yeah, this is going to require more testing than I can do right now, but maybe I can kind of get halfway there, or mostly there. Start getting ready for church. Oh, whoops. Totally did the wrong thing there. By the way. Okay. Okay, so let's do... Does it say GNU in here? It does. Does this say GNU? It does not. Okay. I'll just leave that for now. Okay. Why does it say libc is none? Let's look at the JSON here. Yeah, because that... the wildcard should work. I probably should have it be a hyphen rather than a wildcard to represent like NA as opposed to all. All right, so the question is, why did libc not get assigned? Okay, let's look at where's render batch being called? Let's try it with test. What was OS rel for? Oh, OS plus release. Hmm. Okay. So this finds a release. Now, what is this requiring? OSFS releases. What's going on? There's something, there must be something that has, okay. Okay, so that looks right. Okay, so what is going on? Let's restart here. And then the query params. Okay, so let's fix the query params here. Maybe I don't want to do that quite yet. Dang it. Curl. 15 minutes are up. Maybe another 5. I don't know if I'm going to fix this in that time. I think it's going to take more dedicated effort. Okay, so this looks good, right? This looks like it's selected a release. So what's the problem? Oh, whoops, that's also wrong. It's not next. Oh, we don't have libc. Let's see, does this error? So would this one work? I guess we have to... Okay, so we also have to get the bootstrap here. So let's go ahead and get the bootstrap. And let's see what the bootstrap's going to do for us. Okay, musl. My libc is musl native. Okay. And then we need to fix up the download URL.
See the grains of hope still within you, sweet last time.
So we're going to have some libc detection added. My libc. How could that possibly have no libc detected? Possibly because we don't detect libc at all? Unterminated regular expression. I'm really confused about this one. All right, echo URL. Arch is error. Why is Arch error? Okay. I need to find where muscle native is a thing here. So first of all, oh, this might have needed to be rel. But that's okay, we still probably should figure this out anyway. Oh. Still error. I need to have a detect endpoint that basically runs all the detection but doesn't do the script. And why is this erroring out? Okay, this is not well defined. Because the muscle, in general, muscle should work everywhere. So when we're doing the detection under normalize, yeah, we shouldn't even need this. So that's going to be in the package now. Okay. All right, so if it's muscle or it's static, then that. But if it's GNU, then we tag it as GNU. If it's Windows, then we still tag it as everything. If it's MSVC, Then we target that MSVC is needed. So, and then on the Windows side, we will need to put that in the user agent that it's MSVC, or we can just grab that from the fact that it's Windows, whatever. Libc. Okay, so basically the default is it should just work with anything. I agree with that. Okay. Let's try this again then. Still getting error. Alright, so the libc detection is just not... It's just... It's not going well. Alright, let's get rid of all the hacky-do stuff. Libc, libc. Is this comparing packages? Okay, so if A doesn't have specific requirements for libc and B does have specific requirements, then return -1 to sort that one higher. Okay, got it. I think we can just get rid of all the hacky-do. Okay. Muscle. Normalize. Transform release. There's no underscore muscle stuff, right? Let's look for the underscore muscle stuff in particular. Okay, I don't think this is going to make a difference, but I'm going to try it again anyway. I just got rid of all the hacky-do stuff. Yeah. Next thing is to get rid of all the uppercase native muscle. Muscle native. Unterminated regular expression. Darn it. Okay, so basically our possible values are musl, MSVC, G, and U. So we should always be returning one of those for the operating system. But why is it getting an error here? That might actually be the right thing to do. Because that we don't... Okay, I might be testing on the wrong thing. So how about I try with JQ? I don't know if we tagged that one or not. Okay, why is there an error? Why? Okay, I'm gonna have to investigate this later. I don't have the tools to do it now, and I'm overdue for spending time with the fam. So, gotta peace out. No solution yet. I am going to... move these around a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of this. Maybe there's something else that's not being present. So this should have... Okay. This should have OS equals Linux, and Arch equals AMD 64, and libc equals musl and formats, right? Is that what my problem is? Oh, that might be it. It might be that I didn't actually specify. I left too many things to chance. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to check and see if this works. And then I'm going to find out whether this is actually requires GNU or not. Okay, so JQ worked, good. All right, cool. This is good. Okay, so I was getting closer to working. My test wasn't working, and so I dug deeper, which I solved problems that I would have been having anyway. I still need to dive deeper. I have to test this on Windows, but basically we're back in business. So, we're on the right path. Things are good. Adios.